When Trump met Putin in Alaska, he expected standard diplomatic protocol. Instead, he witnessed a $10 billion security spectacle that left him speechless. Fighter jets, armored convoys, elite bodyguards matching American forces gun for gun, and Putin's flying fortress worth more than most countries' defense budgets. But the real reason behind this show of force is where it gets interesting. Let me break it down. The Alaska summit that changed everything. Picture this. August 15th, 2025. The frozen wilderness of Alaska becomes the backdrop for one of the most extraordinary diplomatic encounters in modern history, as Air Force One descended through the Arctic sky toward Joint Base Alorf Richardson. President Donald Trump was about to witness something that would leave him absolutely speechless. What he was about to encounter wasn't just a meeting with Vladimir Putin. It was a front-row seat to the most elaborate, most expensive, and most paranoid security operation the world has ever seen. The story begins with what didn't happen. For the first time in decades, Putin made a decision that sent shockwaves through intelligence communities worldwide. He deliberately traveled without his standard Russian fighter jet Escort, a move so unprecedented that it redefined the very concept of diplomatic trust. Typically, when the Russian president ventures beyond his borders, the sky becomes a fortress. Usually, 4 to 6 Russian Su-57 fighter jets escort his aircraft, creating an impenetrable aerial shield that costs millions in operational expenses alone. Each of these cutting-edge fighters represents an acquisition cost of $35 to $50 million, making a single escort mission worth more than most countries' annual defense budgets. But Alaska was different. Putin's decision to ditch his military escort was a calculated diplomatic gesture designed to de-escalate tensions and focus entirely on the historic negotiations about Ukraine. What replaced this Russian air power, however, was something far more spectacular and costly than anything Putin could have brought himself. As Putin's luxury illusion, IL-96-300PU aircraft, dubbed the Flying Kremlin, approached Alaskan airspace. The United States military orchestrated a display of power that would make even the most seasoned defense analysts' jaws drop. A B-2 stealth bomber, flanked by 4 35 Lightning II jets, conducted a thunderous flyover during the tarmac greeting. The cost of this single aerial demonstration was staggering. The B-2 alone operates at $135,000 per hour, while each F-35 adds another $80,000 to $85,000 per hour to the bill. What truly shocked Trump, according to multiple intelligence sources and viral YouTube investigations, wasn't just the American display of military might, it was Putin's aircraft itself. The Flying Kremlin represents everything that makes Putin's security apparatus so uniquely extravagant and paranoid, valued at approximately $500 million to $1 billion, including upgrades and entourage support. This isn't just a presidential aircraft, it's a flying fortress designed to survive nuclear warfare. The interior of Putin's aircraft reads like something from a science fiction novel, but with the price tag of a small nation's GDP. Gold-plated interiors, advanced defense systems, and nuclear blast resistance create an atmosphere of opulence that even Trump, with his famously luxurious lifestyle, found overwhelming. Multiple YouTube channels have claimed that the aircraft even shocked Donald Trump due to its extravagance, though specific quotes from Trump about his reaction remain unverified in official transcripts. The ground operations surrounding this summit told an even more expensive story. The U.S. Secret Service deployed hundreds of agents in what was described as a one-week sprint preparation, importing vehicles from other states and housing agents locally due to limited rental availability in Anchorage. The logistical nightmare of securing a remote Alaskan military base for 2 of the world's most protected leaders created costs that spiraled into the millions within days. But here's where the story becomes truly extraordinary. Putin's Russian Federal Protective Service detail didn't just show up. They implemented a security protocol so elaborate that it matched American forces body for body, gun for gun. If 10 American agents secured a room, 10 Russians did the same. If the Secret Service deployed a counter-sniper team, the FSO matched them position for position. This wasn't just diplomatic parity. It was a security theater on a scale that dwarfed most military operations. The estimated cost of this entire operation reached astronomical proportions. proportions. U.S. taxpayers ultimately paid $9 to $15 million overall, including $3.2 million for Air Force One's round trip, $6 to $8 million for cargo and press planes, and $2 to $4 million for Secret Service and motorcade security. Russian costs, while classified, likely matched or exceeded American expenditures when factoring in the deployment of elite FSO personnel and the operational costs of the Flying Kremlin. What made this summit particularly shocking for Trump wasn't just the immediate costs. It was witnessing firsthand the everyday reality of Putin's security apparatus. This wasn't a special occasion display. This was simply how the Russian president travels, protected by a federal protective service employing over 50,000 personnel and operating with a budget that prioritizes personal protection above virtually every other government function. The visual spectacle continued as both leaders toured American military equipment, with Putin projecting confidence through symbolic gestures like examining stealth fighters and riding in Trump's armored limousine. Russian media immediately spun the U.S. escorters' propaganda, framing it as American deference to Putin, while critics called the entire operation a lavish photo opportunity that benefited Putin more than American interests. The human elements of Putin's security detail became immediately apparent to Trump's team. Putin's elite bodyguards, known internally as the Musketeers, maintained constant vigilance throughout the summit. These aren't ordinary security personnel. They're highly trained operatives who undergo 5-year preparation programs at specialized mines, learning everything from advanced combat techniques to diplomatic protocols. Each guard represents an investment of hundreds of thousands of dollars in training and equipment, creating a human shield worth more than most small businesses. The psychological warfare aspect of Putin's security became evident in the smallest details. His guards implemented protocols that seemed almost comically paranoid to American observers, including the now infamous poop briefcase routine to prevent DNA collection. Food testing involved portable laboratories and multiple tasters, while advanced teams had swept the entire base for surveillance devices, sometimes replacing fixtures entirely with Russian equipment. As the summit concluded with F-35 and F-22 Raptors escorting Putin's aircraft out of U.S. airspace, Trump found himself face to face with a sobering reality. Putin's security apparatus isn't just about protection. It's about projecting power through unprecedented financial commitment to personal safety. Regardless of cost to the Russian people or state, this Alaska encounter was merely Trump's introduction to what experts estimate could be a 10 billion security empire that surrounds Putin every moment of every day. What he witnessed in those frozen Alaskan hours was just the tip of an iceberg that extends deep into the Russian economy, redirecting resources toward protecting one man in ways that redefine the very concept of presidential security. The implications of what Trump observed would become clear only as the full scope of Putin's security obsession revealed itself in the months following their historic meeting inside Putin's $10 billion security empire. The phrase 10 billion security isn't hyperbole. It's a conservative estimate of what may be the most expensive personal protection apparatus in human history. To comprehend the true scope of Putin's security empire, we must first understand the organization behind it, the Federal Protective Service, or FSO. This isn't just a bodyguard detail. It's a 50,000-strong agency with roots tracing back to 1881 and the Tsarist era. The FSO operates as Putin's personal Praetorian Guard, integrating multiple specialized units, including the Presidential Security Service, the Commandant's Office of the Moscow Kremlin, and a special communications service that handles encrypted intelligence and threat monitoring. The financial scale of this operation becomes clear when examining Putin's personal security spending, which surged to $186 million in just the first 5 months of 2023, representing a 15% increase from the previous year and 77% of the annual allocation. To put this in perspective, this 5-month expenditure exceeded Russia's military border protection costs, demonstrating how Putin's personal safety takes priority over national defense infrastructure. The crown jewel of Putin's mobile security is his fleet of Aurora Senate armored limousines, a development project project that cost $192 million for the entire fleet. Each individual vehicle carries a $1.5 million price tag and features hybrid V8 to V12 powertrains producing 598 to 800 plus horsepower. But power is secondary to protection. These vehicles include armored plating, reclining seats with crystal glasses, refrigeration systems, fire and gas protection, and independent oxygen supplies that can sustain occupants for hours in the event of chemical attacks. Putin's ground transportation operates as part of elaborate motorcades featuring 20-plus vehicles, including armored SUVs with special forces armed with AK-47s, sniper rifles, anti-tank launchers, and portable air defenses. These convoys sometimes include combat helicopter escorts, transforming ordinary travel into military operations that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars per trip. The sheer logistics of moving this convoy require advanced teams that scout routes months ahead, deploying jamming devices and establishing temporary command centers at every stop. The personnel protecting Putin represent an elite within an elite. His inner circle of bodyguards, often called the Musketeers, numbers around 111 at his Novo Agario residence alone, with smaller specialized teams accompanying him on trips. These guards undergo rigorous 5-year training at the FSO Academy in Oral, covering communications, information security, foreign languages, and advanced combat skills, including convoy protection, sniper overwatch, and close-quarters battle. The selection criteria for Putin's bodyguards reveal the paranoid attention to detail that defines his entire security apparatus. Guards are handpicked for physical stamina, psychological profile, and ability to endure extreme conditions like cold without showing discomfort. Most are tall, averaging 6'2" in, clean-shaven, and from provincial backgrounds with an average age of 36. The psychological screening process is so intense that many candidates are rejected, not for physical inadequacy, but for failing to demonstrate the absolute loyalty and emotional detachment required for the position. FSO personnel enjoy salaries up to 226,000 rubles monthly, plus perks like free holidays and top medical access, making their compensation competitive with Russia's highest-paying private sector jobs. The director of the FSO, Dmitry Kokva, earned 13.65 million rubles in Twantam, equivalent to approximately $147,500, reflecting the premium placed on those who guard Putin's life. The weapons arsenal available to Putin's guards reads like a military procurement catalog. Standard arms include SPS and SR-1 vector pistols with armor-piercing rounds, MP-5 submachine guns, Alaska 105 and AK-12 assault rifles, Orsis T-5000 sniper rifles, and specialized equipment like bulletproof briefcases that unfold into shields and Kevlar umbrellas for portable defense. Recent additions include FPV drone interceptors to jam or hijack signals, reflecting the evolving nature of modern threats. The technological sophistication extends to cutting-edge surveillance and communication systems. Putin's security detail employs encrypted communications networks, GPS jamming capabilities, and advanced biometric monitoring systems that track not just Putin's location but his vital signs in real time. Mobile command centers can be deployed anywhere in the world within hours, establishing secure communication links back to Moscow and creating temporary fortress environments around Putin, regardless of location. Putin's protection extends far beyond personal bodyguards into a network of fortified residences that blur the line between luxury and military installations. His infamous Putin's Palace in Gelendzhik spans 190,000 square feet, with an estimated value of $1.4 billion. This isn't just a home, it's a fortress featuring an amphitheater, underground hockey rink, casino, aqua disco, pole dancing studios, no-fly and no-boat zones, and a 16-story underground complex designed to survive nuclear attacks. The Valdai residence showcases the escalating nature of Putin's security investments. Recent satellite imagery reveals 12 Pantsir S-1 air defense systems positioned around the 4,000-hectare estate, up from just 2 to 7 systems previously. These installations were redeployed from St. Petersburg, leaving urban areas more exposed while prioritizing prioritizing Putin's personal safety. Each pantsy system represents millions in acquisition and operational costs, and their deployment around a private residence demonstrates the extreme resource allocation, prioritizing individual protection over broader national security. The psychological aspects of Putin's security reveal paranoia elevated to an art form. Food is tested by tasters and doctors with portable labs, ensuring meal safety. Hotels are swept for surveillance devices, sometimes with entire fixtures replaced by Russian personnel. Staff must sign 10-year non-disclosure agreements and advance team scout routes months ahead of travel. Perhaps most bizarrely, Putin reportedly travels internationally with a poop briefcase to prevent DNA collection abroad, highlighting the extreme lengths taken to protect even biological information. The maritime component of Putin's security includes a fleet of luxury yachts at the $566 to $700 million Shahe Rada, often described as a Christmas gift from oligarchs, represents just one vessel in a fleet that includes the $100 million Graceful and the $23 million Cellist. Each yacht requires specialized crews, security details, and operational costs that reach millions annually. Recent developments in 2025 have seen these security measures reach unprecedented levels. Russia's defense budget, which includes FSO operations, reached 13.2 trillion rubles, approximately 142 to 167 billion, representing a 25% increase from 2024 and 6.3% of GDP. This marks the highest defense spending since the Cold War, with 40% of federal expenditure now devoted to defense and security. The integration of luxury with security creates a unique economic model where protection and opulence become indistinguishable. Putin's residences feature not just defensive capabilities, but amenities like spas, cinemas, and private railways. Armored trains include beauty rooms and entertainment facilities, transforming security transport into mobile palaces that cost millions to operate and maintain. This vast security apparatus operates with minimal oversight or transparency, funded through state budgets while serving personal protection. The result is a system where Putin's personal security spending exceeded border protection, demonstrating how individual safety takes precedence over national defense priorities in Putin's Russia. The $10 billion estimate encompasses not just direct security costs, but the broader economic infrastructure devoted to maintaining Putin's protection, creating an empire built entirely around ensuring one man's survival. What truly shocked Donald Trump about Putin's security wasn't just the astronomical costs or elaborate protocols. It was witnessing a system where one man's protection takes precedence over an entire nation's well-being. The $10 billion figure that viral YouTube investigations highlight represents more than just security spending. It's a window into an authoritarian mindset that views personal survival as worth any price, regardless of the human cost to Russian citizens. To understand why Putin requires such massive security investments, we must examine the genuine threats he faces daily. Putin has reportedly survived 5 to 6 verified assassination attempts. Though sensational claims reach as high as 43 attempts, the documented incidents spanned decades and reflect the diverse range of enemies Putin has accumulated through his authoritarian rule. The 20,000 Yala bomb plot involved Ukrainian security boiling explosives near Putin's hotel during a summit with suspects linked to Chechen militants. A 2003 British plot saw a citizen arrested in Moscow for allegedly planning to assassinate Putin with explosives. The 20 Chechen plot involved Ukrainian forces arresting suspects planning to kill Putin post-election tied to Chechen warlord Duku Umarov. A 2017 ISIS plot saw Russian FSB thwart an ISIS cell planning attacks during St. Petersburg events. More recent threats have escalated dramatically. The May 2023 Kremlin drone attack, which Russia blamed on Ukraine as an assassination attempt, led to drone bans in Moscow and heightened security protocols. A 2025 Kursk helicopter incident, where a Russian commander claimed a drone targeted Putin's helicopter, demonstrates how the Ukraine war has created unprecedented security challenges. These genuine threats have transformed Putin into perhaps the most paranoid leader in modern history, where American American presidential protection balances security with democratic oversight, Putin's system recognizes no constraints beyond his personal paranoia and unlimited access to state resources. This $10 billion security empire represents more than protection. It's a monument to authoritarianism where one man's fears justify any expenditure, regardless of cost to society. The Alaska summit revealed not just Putin's security apparatus, but the fundamental difference between democratic and authoritarian approaches to power, one constrained by law and accountability, the other limited only by imagination and resources. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on that subscribe button.